Ready? And three, two, one, and hello, welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Clemente. I'm with my two bestest best friends. I'm going to start with the man with the blue background, RJ.
Hey, it's good to be back again, ladies and gentlemen, and it's good to see these bro chachos after a few days that we haven't been together. But
Yeah. We're also joined with our other bestest best friend, Chubax.
Hello, muchachos. It's Chubax or Big Daddy.
It's
Sexy
Chubax.
Daddy? Daddy?
Yeah.
all right, Big
Still bro
Daddy,
chacho. Uh,
Bro Daddy.
we've been off for a few days. I've been hosting my cousin from home from Manila, so I've been fairly busy. But this is our deep dive episode where we summarize, analyze, and give our thoughts to a couple of the more recent movies that have gone out. So hopefully this way, you guys would. Have a little bit more information whether you should spend your hard-earned time and money in watching these movies. So our assignment last week were Red Notice, that stars Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and my ex-girlfriend Gal Gadot. Came out on Netflix on the 12th of November.
That's right.
The other assignment that we had, another one that came dropped on Netflix, a western movie, The Harder They Fall, starring Idris Alba, Regina King, Zazie Beetz, Jonathan Major. Essentially, all the coolest African American actors of our time is in that movie, and that came out on the 5th
Fifth, I
of
think.
November. Yeah, and lastly, that we're going to discuss is Shang-Chi. It
Shang-Chi.
has been Shang-Chi for this week.
Shang-Chi.
It has been. It came out in the theaters 40 days ago, and it just dropped on Disney Plus the Friday of November 12th as well. So now more people can watch it because not the entire world has their theaters open yet due to the pandemic. So um, that's going to be our main topics for this week. But a little housekeeping before we start. You can watch all of our episodes, both this topic deep dive episode, our first D&D campaign podcast, as well as our React podcast in our YouTube channel. Just search +63HP on YouTube search bar. Or if you want to launch directly from your browser, you can type in bit.ly/+63HP. Tweet at us at +63HP. And you can also subscribe or listen to us if you don't want to see our handsome mugs on your favorite podcasting app. We prefer Apple Podcast and Spotify. Next week, if you want to join our episode for next week, we have four on the docket. We will try to get to as much of it, but we will prioritize Cowboy Bebop, that is dropping on November 19th. That is also on Netflix. Wheel of Time, which is a fantasy series, also starring my ex-girlfriend Rosalind Pike. That's on Prime Video, also dropping on November 19th. And we'll have, I think, the last chapter of Arcane coming out as well on Netflix. It's this very cool animated show. By November 19th, all of their episodes would have dropped. So we'll probably discuss a few of the earlier ones. And if we have time, there's this Korean horror movie that will also be dropping on November 19th. November 19th, a lot of things are dropping because I
Yeah.
think it's prior to Thanksgiving. That last movie is entitled Hellbound, so that's a good swath of fun fantasy, animation, and horror. So if you want to join
Good
a
mix.
discussion next week, you're welcome. And with that, housekeeping done. As per usual, when we do our deep dive, our podcast that reviews the shows that we've seen for the week, we have a very scientific method of arranging the movies. So we hired and coded an AI to rank this for us, and the AI decided that we are going to do from lightest ish, the easy watch, down to the one that we want to discuss the most. So this week we're gonna start with Netflix's "The Harder They Fall."
Oh
So
no,
oh,
red
sorry,
No,
red
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 Notice.
notice.
Notice. Red
I'm,
Red
Notice.
I'm
notice.
sharing Red Notice right now. So Red Notice. So
Netflix
before
is 200 million. Red
I was
notice.
I was gonna say before we drop some reviews, um, Red Notice was again just a little bit of IMDb, Google description of the movie. It's an hour and 55 minutes. I think that's a decent length of a movie. It has a budget of $200 million. Directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber. Music by Steve Jablonsky. And as of recording today, just a weekend after it has released on Netflix, which also had a 1 week theatrical release, it has a 1.25 to 1.5 million box office over the weekend. But again, because this is a Netflix joint, we don't expect the movie to have blockbuster numbers, but that's what 1.5 million dollars of $200 million is 0.5%.
No, but yeah, but Netflix. It's the biggest opening single day opening movie on Netflix ever.
Okay, I mean that's good
So
stats. Oh, so with that stats over, I'm gonna turn it over to the boys now. So Trabox, what do you think? What did you think of Netflix? And then what other stuff have you researched about the movie that we want to discuss as well?
first off, this guy is the director for this movie. Made Dodgeball. So kudos to
Classic,
him.
Vince
Classic.
Vaughn,
He did.
Ben Stiller.
Oh, he's been with The Rock for a while. So he did Central Intelligence with
Oh,
The
that's
Rock
right.
and Kevin Hart. Skyscraper with The Rock.
Buh.
Oh,
Ex-
So
he also
yeah,
did We're the Millers. That's pretty awesome.
yes.
with
So
We Are the Millers 2 being rumored as well.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see the first one.
Mm.
Um, well, yeah, that was $200 million. Blockbuster movie. It's just as we always say, it's in all in context. If I paid 40, how much is IMAX? $30,
Yeah, yeah. Let's say $25. Yes.
25 bucks plus popcorn. So that's probably 50,
40,
40,
50,
50.
50.
Yeah.
$70 to watch this in a movie. I'd be pissed. But I saw it on Netflix. I didn't have to pay anything. I watched it with the family. It was fun.
It was fun,
But
right?
yeah, I had
Hmm.
lots of comments, lots of do I go ahead dive in with my
Yeah,
thoughts?
dive in.
Go ahead, buddy.
So yeah, watching this, the first thing that stood because I watched Harder They Fall first, and then
Hmm.
Shang-Chi, and then this. For a $200 movie,
$200 million
the
movie.
sound was just blah. Because
Mm.
that's the thing that popped out for me. Because the harder they fall in Shang-Chi, the music was really,
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I
really
get it. I
popping.
get it.
So it's
Uh,
really you feel the soundtrack is really cool. So this one didn't have that good a soundtrack. The action was what you'd expect. It was fun. The chemistry was great. I mean, I do love these three actors. And though Ryan Reynolds was kind of my wife was annoyed with him. It was like too annoying. He reminded him of Lucas.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like he was borderline too much Ryan Reynolds at times. Uh, and then we've discussed this before, but The Rock never has any chemistry with female leads.
Nope.
So with this one, I'm torn. I think there's chemistry, but having that burned in my mind that Rock doesn't have chemistry with his female stars.
Anybody?
I don't know if it's my bias that's turning me off on it, or if there really is chemistry. So maybe I'll need to rewatch it again. And but anything Gal Gadot, any scene with her was just, yeah, this is worth 200 million. And then when she's gone, it's like, well, what am I watching? And the twist ending was, I don't know. I'm that one. I also have to rewatch and see if it's still digesting in me, if I like it or don't. I just like the fact that we're gonna get a sequel, and I like that the three of them
Mm.
are in the same side, so that's gonna be good. But I don't know the twist with the Rock, so yeah, for me that's it for now. I'll just jump in with you guys. How about you, RJ?
Well, I agree on a number of points that you said, Chewy. I like their chemistry in terms of them working together, so I am excited if there would be Red Notice too. Um, however, when I saw The Rock, and of course, spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it yet, um, the part where The Rock and Gal Gadot reveals that they are together, I was like, "What? No, ew, no way!" Because maybe not because I don't think The Rock does not have chemistry with women. I just feel that Gal Gadot was just really way up there to be with The Rock. Maybe I think that's the thing for me. She was gorgeous. Gal Gadot, with how many children now, by the way, is still
Three,
fucking hot.
three
She's
daughters.
she's amazingly beautiful, and I guess her accent also added to the sexiness. The fight scene made me think of Wonder Woman, especially when she had the spear. Kind of, it
I
had
love the
some.
museum scene.
I like it.
Oh,
I like it. I'm not
the
against
vault
it.
scene.
Yeah, I like it.
The
This
three of them.
particular
The
scene there.
choreography
See,
was pretty good there.
but it did remind me a lot of Wonder Woman, or maybe because it's just how we all think of her. The action for The Rock, especially the part where he opens the other door of the helicopter, it reminded me of Fast and the Furious series. I don't know, a lot of
I was gonna
unrealistic,
say.
a lot of unrealistic things. And I feel sad that that Kat didn't quite enjoy Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, but I really just think that he is who he is in whatever movie you put him in, and I like him. I like it. I like his humor, um, especially when they were scaling outside the mountain. It's a, can you fly a helicopter? Does the back of your head look like a penis? Yes.
The actor is, yes.
I like his humor. It was just great. It's a light movie. I enjoyed watching it with my wife. Although obviously, whenever Gal Gadot comes on scene and she's absolutely enchanting, my wife will go like, I used to be like that too. I'm like, sure, okay, okay. Um, yeah, don't watch with jealous wives or girlfriends, guys, if you're gonna get this. But it is a nice watch. It's a good movie. In terms of, you want something light that you just want to laugh. So it's a good after work movie where you just unwind, maybe have a beer. That's pretty good. How about you, John?
Um, I think Chubax perfectly set it up. Uh,
Mm,
this is a movie of, well, Netflix has been conditioning us to watch movies in context, right? Because there are some Netflix movies that are events that will mean something very, very different from one group of people to another.
mm,
That's why it's good that we have both Red Notice and The Harder They Fall in this episode. But Red Notice, again, if I paid for this in the cinema, I'd be very, very disappointed. Only because, these are three of my favorite actors and actresses. None of them I thought performed to the level where I know that they can perform, like
Oh,
acting
I don't
wise.
think the script with
Well, and that's the
Saul.
thing. It's because
Yeah.
a lot of it needs to be, there's direction, there's pacing, there's the script. Like I understand that this is heavy on The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, but um,
yeah.
even just the characters, like both like Ryan Reynolds' character, his skill in terms of planning either a heist or an escape. Like his character has escaped a lot of prisons. Was kind of shown. There's like there's background to it. There's context to what he does. Um, for the entire time, we know that Gal Gadot was like the number one art thief, was alluded to, like the big bad of the movie. Um, but a lot of her success was unearned. Like she'll just show up somewhere, right?
Mm.
There's and asks things and then leaves. So I think she was terribly underutilized. But any movie that has Gal Gadot in it could do another two or three more times
Yeah.
screen time of Gal Gadot. Um, Again, I already
Oh
had a
man.
very low expectations of The Rock, and this one wasn't too bad. Like he was trying to be a little, again, we mentioned this before, still the quote unquote FBI agent, still the brawn, and I like that. Again, we said it in the spoiler warning section. Like the entire time it was being set up as um Ryan Reynolds is the second best art thief. Best art thief, Gal Gadot, sets up a supposed FBI agent, The Rock, as a also an accomplice. So the movie was showing that The Rock and Reynolds were working so that they can take down Gal Gadot. So that was kind of the entire
Mhm.
movie. He was trying not to be the bronze and still be a little strategic, or trying to really focus on him looking at the building plan so he can anticipate where the art thief will gonna go, so the Rock can intercept Ryan Reynolds and whatnot. But he's still the he's still the muscle guy in any movies.
Can't
He's a
avoid
little
that.
bit quippier
Yeah.
here. I kind of like it. um but yeah, it is one of those. I I might actually put this in the background at
Mm.
some point, because yeah, the visuals were nice. Uh, Action was decent. They have a couple of different um, locales that they shot at. A lot of different set pieces. Um, but I think the actual bones of the story was just super weak. There's
Mhm.
these three
Eggs.
priceless artifacts, which totals to $300 million. That was going to be a gift to some
Rich guy's
sultan's, some
daughter.
rich guy's daughter,
And is it just me, but 300 seems a little less on the less side for
for
priceless items?
for an artifact.
Okay. Well, I guess it's just I've seen too many movies where the
More in
price
the
tags have been
billions.
higher.
Yeah.
Billions,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
So
and there's also something odd, like the Interpol was just totally just blank.
Being played around. Yeah.
Nothing, yeah.
mhm,
It really
yeah,
didn't do them justice. They were supposed to be like one of the best agencies in the world. And they were
and
and you had
exactly,
museum guards who were more active than the freaking Interpol.
yeah. This is. I mean, I like the attempt. The attempt
Mm.
And
for
hey, at
Rock.
least they proved me wrong for not casting The Rock as an FBI agent.
It's
He
for
just
eighty
played
percent of
one.
the movie. For
Yeah.
80% of the movie, he was still an
But
FBI
and
agent.
I saw a video about some interviews about this, that there was a lot of improv on their scenes. The director let them improvise a lot, and they did talk about one my comment when I was watching the movie, because Lucas tried is trying Forza Horizon also.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
So it's like, so there's the scene with when he gets in the Porsche
Take him.
Taycan,
Take
Take him.
take
and
cam.
Lucas was like,
That's
"That's a nice
the
car," and then I commented, "There's no way he can fit there normally," and it's true in the video that I saw. So they got these cars. They bought two real Porsches for this, and he couldn't really fit. The director's like, "What?
he's just too
I can't
massive.
fit normally." So they had to oil him up and stuff just so he can slide in. How big he was.
Man.
That was
Oh,
just funny for me.
but
Oh,
yeah,
there's
I
one more
mean,
thing, pala. They tried to make it deep in terms of relationships, aside from the betrayal and stuff. They also did
mhm.
a lot of daddy talk. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about that, Big Daddy? So, whether it was Ryan Reynolds or whether it was The Rock or it was
The
Gal
Rock.
Gadot, they all at one point had daddy issues. So, guess if you have daddy issues, you end up being an art thief.
I know. It's because they didn't have a Big Daddy as their daddy.
Horrible, horrible. Um, you know, let's do another round of final thoughts on Red Notice. What we thought, what we liked, how to watch this, when to watch this, and personal ratings before we moved on to the next. Chubax, let's start with you.
I'll definitely watch it. You have Netflix, you just watch it. I mean, it's not like if you don't have Netflix, then you're not gonna watch it.
Hmm.
Don't even, it's not something you're gonna pay for. So just, I assume you have Netflix. Watch it in the back. Like Jong said, it could be in the background.
Hmm.
It's fun. It's nice. Get up some popcorn, some burgers,
Yeah.
and open your eyes. Enjoy.
Gal
Some
Gadot, Gal
laughs and
Gadot, Gal
stuff.
Gadot.
So for me, what would I rate this? Maybe a seven,
Hmm.
6.5 at times, 7.5 at times.
True. It
Nine
does
for any
vary.
Gal Gadot scene.
Especially when she comes out of the sea in that swimsuit.
Oh, that ending. And it
Man.
just my pet peeve though, when she got the spear, wouldn't you normally tie your hair before a fight instead of
Oh, it's not gonna look
making
good
it?
on camera.
That is true. What?
She
Because
did her hair.
when my kids train Isabella with the karate, she needs to tie her hair. It's all gonna be on her face. She can't see, but it's just a nitpick. I just thought it was funny that she did the opposite of what she needed to do, but she did look great.
Jay, what's your last thoughts and rating for Red Notice?
um, I think that Gal Gadot was gorgeous, and I cannot stress that enough. Um, I really feel that they underplayed Ritu Arya, or they really gave her a really bad character. Because
Mm.
I actually liked her in Umbrella Academy, but here she was like a totally unuseful Interpol. So
Yeah.
I just felt like they didn't have a an opponent who was really worthy of like the three of them teaming up against. I don't think she was that strong of a villain in a way, like righteous villain against the three. Um, it's a good popcorn movie. I would rate it similar to Chewie, but more on the 7 to 8 range. So it varies on certain scenes. The thing I hate the most was probably uh, the breaking in part two, sotto voce. Well,
Sottovoce. Oh my
sotto
god, that's
voce.
sottovoce.
Cause how can you use a freaking deep fake to determine the distance of your cheekbones and all that? For me, it well anyway. I guess this is a Netflix movie. It's not really um, gonna be deep on that part, but yeah, that's probably one of the things I didn't enjoy. Plus the Interpol being pretty helpless.
Is
Um,
there like only one FBI number that you can call
I
in
know, right?
case?
Just one, and then it was intercepted. Wow, great! I
Yeah.
have full faith in the FBI now.
Mm.
Maybe one thing though, even if it's Gal Gadot and she does the downtown singing downtown, I don't think that's gonna go down though. Anyway, how about you, John?
Uh, I think this is one of those times that I'm a little bit harsher than both of you. I'll rate this maybe six,
Hmm.
5.5, and again, that's average.
Yeah,
Well, five is the middle. It's above middle, so I kind of like it. And the only reason why it pulls it down for me is because like, these are three giant names. And obviously they're building a franchise out of it, and I'm very excited for that franchise. It's just that again, this both story, um somewhat acting, somewhat the jokes didn't really hit. I mean, it's like, I was expecting a little bit more with these triple A actors and actresses.
Mm.
um a controversial take on my end, though. I think because I love Gal Gadot so much, or we all love Gal Gadot so much, we are a little bit easier on her in terms of her acting.
Hmm.
Um, Watching this, because I had a few days before watching all three movies, so I really had to. I could have concentrated on the movie a lot. Being very critical about her acting, she's engaging, she's captivating, but she is not an actor that she's an actor. So
Mm.
I don't see
Bro,
her
did
acting.
RJ and I say anything about
About
her
I
acting?
acting,
mean,
we just said
100%.
I think I just said gorgeous,
Yeah,
enchanting,
100%.
hot.
No, um, no, but like with at least with Ryan Reynolds, he overacted a little bit here. He was like what RJ
Too
mentioned
much,
was
yeah.
correct. A little too much Ryan Reynolds here. The Rock was trying to downplay the I'm the big hulking muscle. So there were attempts to at least not be the usual Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson. So that was okay. But in the end, like, I mean, Free Guy was,
Pretty good.
surprisingly good,
Hmm.
right? There are movies like even Six Underground, another Ryan Reynolds Netflix joints. It was surprisingly good. This was not surprisingly good. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm
Just
not
well.
overwhelmed. So I'm just
Just well.
whelmed. Just
Oh,
whelmed.
just
So
well.
um yeah, I again, IMDb has this at 6.5, but Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 38, and Metacritic also has it at a 38. So, yeah, there's still some variance between the review outlets. So this kinds of points out to the viewing public that this is again in contest to taste, right? It's not one of those things that like it's 100% a sure shot. Maybe it's your mood, maybe it's because it's Netflix or your TV is big, right? There's variables like that will make this an enjoyable experience. But that is our discussion of Red Notice. So again, you heard our ratings. It's not one of those don't watch it. It's not Prisoners of the Ghostland. But it's just also not a Green Knight where you have to carve out time to watch it. But it's on Netflix, so you can turn it on, put it on the background. Um, I'm gonna turn off our looping trailer of the Red Notice, and then um, the next uh, the next trailer now, or the next movie that we will have to that we are as or tasked ourselves to review is The Harder They Fall.
Hmm.
Also on Netflix, also dropped on November 12th, no, earlier, November 5th. um just a few stats before I start our discussion. So The Harder They Fall, um the budget, they say, again, this is unofficial, but it says that they only did the entire movie for $90 million. So put that into perspective. Red Notice, lots of flash, very little substance, versus The Harder They Fall, still lots of flash,
Hmm.
somewhat more substance, and I would argue an even more stellar cast of people that was in there. So again, we mentioned Zazie Beetz, Idris Alba, Jonathan Majors, Regina King, Lakeith Steinfeld, and this is just a portion of it. And the description is, when an outlaw discovers his enemy is being released from prison, he reunites his gang to seek revenge. So Jonathan Majors is Nat Love. He has his own gang with Zazie Beetz, RJ Seiler, Danielle Dead Weiler, and the outlaw that's being sprung out of prison is Idris Alba's crew, so Rufus Buck. He is with Regina King and Lakeith Seinfeld and the gang. So Um, Jonathan Majors and Idris Elba has some history, so yeah, it behooves him to eliminate Idris Elba. Um, yeah, before we get into the plot and all the other stuff, what again, Jay? What did you think of the movie? And uh, favorite storylines that we'd want to discuss to kind of show people whether this movie is there or not.
Hmm. I particularly don't enjoy Western flicks, to be honest. But
Oh,
Interesting.
this one was bearable, despite the fact that it was at 2 hours and 17 minutes. I think we're looping on a. Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, sorry, because
No worries, no worries.
I don't have YouTube Premium, so there were ads.
Oh, okay, that was an ad. Oh, that was awesome. Okay, so they acted really well. I like their acting. I think it brought out a lot in this movie. Idris Elba is awesome as for me he's the best actor there in the entire movie. I felt that treacherous Trudy, played by Regina King, was a little bit too much, or maybe it was really part of her character. Um, I can't remember the name of the actor for the fastest gun. What's his name? Uh,
Lakeith. Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Seinfeld
Lakeith.
versus
Oh,
our
Cherokee Bill.
Jim Beckworth.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Cherokee Bill.
I think I think he was okay because I would imagine a gunslinger would be cold-hearted, minimal words, and just get the action done. Um, Action was all right. The typical Western movie. Good
Mhm.
guys hardly get shot except by the main, like the mini bosses and the
Bad
big
guy.
bosses. You know what I mean, right? So they had other crew who like stormtroopers wouldn't hit the mark. But if you are like Keith Steinfield and Cherokee Bill or Treacherous Trudy, then yeah, definitely they'd end up killing people. Um, do I like it? It was decent. I like it. It's nice. It was entertaining, despite the fact that I don't enjoy Western movies. How about you, Chewy?
Oh, for me, I loved it. It was great for me. The soundtrack got me. It was like something new. You know, you don't really hear the
Mhm.
combination of the type of music because I think it was produced by
Jay
Jay
Z.
Z, right? Jay
Sean
Z. So
Carter.
the
Yep. Hmm.
soundtrack really got me going. Um, for westerns, for me, I also have a love hate. I mean, I love some and I hate some. And for this one, I have some nitpicks, but I generally loved it. The as you said, the cast was amazing. I mean, this is the first movie in a while where a lot of the line delivery, I had to rewind it because I just
Hmm.
loved it. I loved how like I loved Cherokee Bill, like all his lines. Like I don't we don't want to I don't want to inflict violence, but you are around very violent people. And then I love the chemistry with the Rufus Buck gang,
Hmm.
their team ups. You know the knife and the gun. It's like they have their own style of fighting. So that was so fun. I mean, Regina King. What else can you say about Regina King? Idris Elba. Um, Jonathan Majors was great. Even yeah. Who's the fast shooter for Not Love? Bill.
Jim
Jim
Beckworth.
Beckworth.
Jim Beckworth. Jim Beckworth. He was funny. I just some of my nitpicks were more on like the plot was a little pretty straightforward. No, nothing too great. I didn't like the Zazzy stagecoach Mary thought she could just
Walk
ride in and
in.
then
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I
that was a
didn't
bit.
think yeah that was kind of stupid. And then um my other nitpick was because I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, the sets they look kind of like sets.
Mm.
If you could see the ground, if that was really a town in that time, you'd see walkways where the horse
Hmm.
walks more.
Yeah.
It's too clean. It was too flat. There was no grooves, but no dirt or stuff. They all look a little too clean at times. But aside from that,
Good call.
yeah, I love the cast. I can't wait. I hope the sequel gets greenlit, as the director said. The only thing better than Judy Smith is more Judy Smith. So I just love her delivery. Open it
Mm.
like damn, and I particularly love the Matrix scene with Idris Elba.
Just
Did you catch
walking
that?
through. Yeah.
No, no, no. When he comes out and he breathes and it expands. Did you see
Oh, I
that?
did not.
Watch it again. There's like it does a the Neo Matrix breath.
Which part
Hmm.
here?
It
As
does
he
that.
gets out
Yeah,
of the train?
As he
yeah.
exits the
His
vault.
first breath. It's gonna warp the area around him a little bit. It's
Ooh.
so cool. And then yeah, just it's pretty cool. I was hoping in the end he wouldn't go down because I would also love more Rufus Buck. And as much as I love Jim Beckworth, that was pretty expected. How that went down. Why don't they always count so long? Even Coffee was cool.
Oh
Coffee
yeah,
was actually
coffee.
She
cool.
was amazing. So yeah, so that yeah,
Who's the
I
fast?
love
Have you?
it.
Yeah, I've seen somebody
Yeah,
faster. Where? In the
In the
mirror.
mirror.
Fucking a. Yeah, buddy, online.
He dissed you.
yeah. That's it for me. I loved it. And you, John.
Um, so I'm split with this movie. I'm split because I'm highly entertained, and if you watch it, so for me, my comments are: if you watch it in chunks,
Hmm.
every single actor in this movie is stellar. So, and every single one has, you see the difference between this movie that had a gajillion actors versus like a Red Notice that only had a few, but still couldn't balance the lines and the screen time of each. This one was pretty well balanced. Like everybody had a little bit of time to shine, but of course, the Zazie Beats, the Jonathan Majors, the Regina King, and the Idris Alba will have just a little bit more context, a little bit more background. You know, the Lakeith Steinfeld, the RJ Seiler, they had small beats, but when they were there, it was very important, like, stuff about their character. So, just on a plain movie standpoint, I'm very entertained. I got bored because this is 2 hours and 19 minutes, so 2 hours and 20-minute movie, and
It
it
was a bit
feels that
long.
it could have
Yeah.
been an hour and a half. All right, but again, you don't put these many actors and actresses in an hour and a half movie. I totally understand that. I think it's just, it in the end it's still a western. In the end it's still one gang against the other. There was going to be
Shootout.
a breakout scene, there's going to be a shootout scene, there's going to be a heist scene, all of which was done good but not great. Like, even when they were, this very cool shot of Idris Alba being broken out of the train when he was in a vault as a prisoner. N- yeah, Regina King parked her horse in front of the train stopped, they walked in. If you break it, if you really break this stuff down, it tends to be that super simple. It might be, the most practical way to do it, but again, um you know I'm we've seen a bajillion movies like this, so we need a little bit more to be entertained. um what has been very popular, particularly here in the States, is that one of the main thrusts of this movie being made is to highlight the African American cowboys that aren't, when we think about cowboy, we don't think about black cowboys. All right, we think about the John Waynes.
Mm.
It's heavily whitewashed when historically,
They
there
did
were,
exist.
yeah, they did exist. All of these characters, as in the opening credits, you'll see that all of although this particular story is fictionalized, every single one of these characters are real. So there was a Rufus Buck, right?
Yeah, that's
There
right.
was a Trudy
They
Smith.
did say that in the
There was a
beginning.
stagecoach Mary that
Yeah.
was all, had a shotgun but also ran the saloon. There was a Cherokee Bill that was so fast that people thought that he must be shooting people in the back because he's that fast, right? Um, all of these. So that's, the idea of bringing all these together in one movie was was good for me. And then yeah, it's just they're so cool. They're so cool that I cannot stop watching it. But I found myself in the middle of the movie being a little bit bored. And then towards the end, when the Nat Love gang needed to rob a bank, to pay for a stagecoach Mary's like essentially ransom, I was like, wait, what? We're gonna add another thing in this movie? I think it's getting a little bit long. And then where's that big fight scene at the end too? So um, and peppering in a lot of character moments that I truly enjoyed. Like, Jonathan Major's origin story was front and center at the start of the movie, where his parents were murdered by Idris Alba and the Rufus Buck man. He was the one. Rufus Buck was the one that gave him the the scar, the cross scar, crucifix scar in his forehead, and then Idris Elba having his monologue at the end about why he was so. I like that idea, providing a little bit more context of on the things, um, and I couldn't quite put my finger to it before, but now that you mentioned it, Chubax, about the sets looking like sex sets, yes, you are right. Like now it's like, oh, that's why it
right?
felt a little bit unusual, like not as normal. Like it's not weathered. The kind of
Mm-hmm.
every building. Now I'm looking at the trailer again. Every building is like freshly painted. So maybe that was the one that kind of like gave me a little bit, but like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, but uh, this is kind of weird because like I'd rather have Red Notice, a far worse movie in the background than this one. So yeah, that's that's essentially everything that I have for Red Notice. IMDb has this as 6.6 out of 10, so that's
I
really
mean,
good.
for harder they fall.
Harder They Fall. Its Rotten Tomato rating is 87%, so that's high for Rotten Tomatoes. But the Metacritic score is 68%. So usually, again, when we have discrepancies between these three, like say major review scores, it shows you, it highlights to you the difference of the audience watching it. Some people who watch it really really loved it. Some people that watch it felt okay with it. But it's not, Metacritic at 68%. That's not bad. That's above average. So I feel that this is something that anybody else can watch. Let's do a quick round of ratings and final thoughts on the Harder They Fall. Trucks, go back to you.
Oh, I love it. It's a 9. I was hoping though it was a 10, but like what I said with some of the nitpicks. And
Mm.
I also hate the back-to-back scene.
Oh,
That's There's no
that's
strategic
Yeah.
isn't it?
possi
You have 360 degree field of view? No.
and
Mm,
360 degrees can shoot at you.
exactly.
There's no, there's no safe place in the middle of the road. So that just it was typical Western, so that kind of stood out. But yeah, I agree that this is heavier, so it's not something you have in the background. But I'll definitely come back to it and just see my favorite scenes. The Rufus Buck when they saved him in the train. The Jim Beckworth scenes, all of Cherokee Bill scenes. I love how he delivered the lines. Just
Heath Cypher is so cool.
yeah, and Regina King too. I can't wait for the sequel. Like they even explained, the director explained why um, Regina King surviving in the end
Mm.
was more of a reflection of Mary, because like they're kind of she's smart.
Mm.
They're kind of she didn't really have to kill her. So I'm hoping in the sequel it's not her against Jonathan Majors again. Maybe they can cross
Spin-off.
paths, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm sad for Cherokee Bill though. I don't know. His delivery really struck with me, and I liked it. So I think everybody should try it at least. I know westerns is also acquired taste, but yeah. And then watch this for the scene, at least for the breath.
For the breath.
For the Matrix scene.
Jay,
Yeah.
how would you rate this?
I'm really not a big fan of Western movies, cowboy shootouts, and all that. The actors were fantastic though, but it's just not something that if I had a choice of
That's for you.
watching a different genre or Western's really something that I didn't pick up growing up. So I'd probably rate this a bit low, anything between 6.5 to 7, only because it's not my cup of tea. But
Okay.
if I'm gonna rate it based on their acting, they were fantastic. They were really,
Mm.
really good. And kudos to these actors and thanks Netflix for bringing this. But yeah, I guess the mixed ratings across different sites really shows that there's a split between audience. So
Mm.
it's either a hit or a miss for you. If you like
Yeah.
westerns, man, this is gonna be right up your alley, and it's a good western, which I think hasn't been one lately.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
In
true.
recent years, I haven't really seen a western or I haven't heard of a western movie really being talked about. But this deserves people watching it. Even if you don't like western movies, at least give it a try to see the different characters and how the actors really brought out the different personalities. And it's gonna be a bit long, but it's worth seeing.
Oh, yeah. Um, Yeah, same for me. If you had the time, you need to you need to devote some
Hmm.
time watching this movie too. So that's kind of like if you're the type of if you're a background watcher, this is not the kind of movie. But if you have a date night with the wife, the girlfriend, or with your friends, like this
Or
is a
both.
good movie to pick, or in separate nights, whatever. We'll do it twice. Um, uh, I like it.
I'm
It's
even
cool.
trying. Sorry, I'm even trying Lovecraft Country just because Jonathan Majors
Jonathan
is
Majors.
into this.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you sorry, go with
No,
your
exactly. Again, it is one of those things where this is an amazing cast, and with this stellar cast, it's hard to fall. The if Chubax had a nitpick, the my nitpick in movies that are trying to be cool, like directors that are trying to be a little bit cute in certain scenes, certain acting, dropping certain um, beats or like scores to make it a little bit more non-traditional. When it works, it works. But again, that's also a matter of taste. So for me, I thought that this tried to be a little too cool. You know, that blue girl dancing in the saloon, leading Zazie Beats to Idris Alba sitting alone in the middle of a booth with a bottle of whiskey framed like it's a little too cool, bro. A little too cool, but
He's fucking
it,
Rufus Buck, bro.
it's true. But like
He is Rufus Buck.
your head must be so sore looking down the entire night and waiting for somebody to talk to you. Go like ooh, go like up like that. But it's a great movie. Like a great movie needs some planning and needs
Mm,
to be in the mood for if not you need to be in the mood for western or action
that's
or
right.
just like an ensemble, so like you can't just pop this open. So but yeah, great fight scenes. I'll rewatch those over and over. So that will be The Harder They Fall on
Ah.
Netflix.
Maybe just
uh
as a final tip, if you want to split this into two movies, because I mean,
oh, that's
split
true.
it, watching it into two parts, because this is a 2 hour movie. So if you don't
Yeah,
have that attention span to sit down for an entire 2 hours, what would have been good
And
was to watch
that
it
might have
until
actually
what's the name? Stagecoach Mary was captured, and stop there.
and
I
then
guess
do
that,
that again.
and
that
then
might
It's like
even increase your rating on it.
yeah, and then
You
yeah,
the
might be
second part,
able to make it swallow more
correct,
easily.
because the second part would be rescuing Stagecoach Mary and the ultimate action that you've been waiting for
that's
to
a
happen.
great call. That's a great
Yeah.
call.
And
It
a lot of gore. So, because my
mm,
wife saw the first scene, it's like, I ain't watching this.
mm.
I
Yeah,
was
so
like,
I think if you
it's
split
so
it in
cool,
that way,
damn it.
I would have rated higher. Yeah.
Yeah, that yeah, great call. So that is Netflix's $90 million production.
Hmm.
The Harder They Fall. Semi like real characters, fictionalized storylines. So that's awesome. Now we are going to our coup de grace,
Ooh.
our main topic for this recording. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings finally dropped on Disney Plus, allowing more people to watch it. If for those that did not know what it is the origin story of martial arts master Shang-Chi confronting his past that he tried to leave behind, but he has been drawn back again to this mysterious web of the Ten Rings. This was initially released in November 3rd. Oh, sorry, September 3rd. So, a few months back, uh, with a budget that says here 120 to 150 million dollars. That's not too. That was surprisingly on the lower end of what I
Hmm.
thought any Marvel movie that would get. And as of the time of this recording, it is at 430.4
Whew.
$1 million in the box office. So that's good because usually the idea is you have to make three times or two
Yeah.
or more times
But
than
that's
your
good for
budget
especially
to
for pandemic.
for and particularly for pandemic. This is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, music by Joel P. West, which is cool because I have a couple of like indie Asian bands there or indie Asian rappers like 88 Rising. Um, that was featured a whole lot. And it is again in the pandemic the second Marvel movie that came out. The first one was Black Widow,
But that
and then this
didn't show in theaters, right?
yeah, then Translators, and then when Shang-Chi dropped, the controversy was, or the experiment was. So people are very sensitive here. One of the executives mentioned that they were going to experiment on the
Yeah.
launch of Shang-Chi, and then they took it a different way. But what they meant was, this is going to they were going to try to do this in theaters only, but do a fast follow on Disney Plus because understandably not the entire world is open. It has their theaters open still, so they still wanted to get this movie in the hands of people. So, after 40 days of release, it's going to launch on Disney Plus, and here we are. All right, that is the setup. Now we discuss the plot, things that we liked, things we didn't like, and since we are all MCU, generally Marvel fans and like comic book fans, so um, what does this movie mean in the general MCU? So I'm gonna start with Jay. What things that you liked, did not like about Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and storylines that you wanted to talk about.
All right. The kung fu scenes were actually quite good. It seemed like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of kung fu scenes. You've got the father played by Tony Leung, which is a
Amazing
celebrated
Tony.
celebrated actor uh, many times over, especially in Hong Kong. Um, he has this style which is strong, rough, and then you've got the mother played by Fala Chan, I think, if that's correct, who has a more of a soft style. Father fights with the fist clenched, mother fights with the fists open, and is able
Mhm.
to kind of,
More Tai Chi
um,
style.
yeah, it's Tai Chi. Basically, it's the essence of yin and yang, the balance of which, right? And surprisingly, Shang-Chi, whichever ways
Shang-Chi.
he wants to pronounce it, Shang-Chi, I guess represents both because he has the anger of the father and he has the gentleness of the mother, making him uh, a good candidate. Whereas I suppose the daughter, his sister, played by what's her name, Meng Zhang Xiaoling, is not really given attention, which is again typical of Chinese culture. Um, I like the Macau scene. They had good shots of the Grand Lisboa. I remember walking around the area there, not for gambling, but just because you know I stayed quite a number of years in Macau. But the building itself, just to let you guys know, and where that hidden underground arena of Shaoling is, that's definitely not Macau. There's no building like that there. But what did I enjoy? I like the fact that Wong was there, so it's connecting it to Doctor Strange. I like Wong. Even in Doctor Strange, I like this character. And here he was like what? It seemed like wrestling. So you have to hold your punches just like I told you. So it gives you that it has a good balance of humor. I'm not very particular on the chemistry between Shang-Chi and Katie though, because it
Interesting.
seems like it's going there. Because I really
No,
like
it
them
was
to stay
platonic.
friends.
I think it's platonic. Yeah, it was.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think they emphasized that in the interviews too, which
Yeah.
okay.
is
They're very again.
refreshing.
They're trying, but that's the thing too. It's like you can't really um the amount of interaction that they have. Like most audience, particularly the ones that don't think too deeply about these things. They were like, oh, two like man and woman best friends. They're gonna end up together at the end. But like, I like the fact that man and woman can just be friends.
They're just
Hmm.
good friends, good
Mhm.
buddies.
Yeah, they love each other. That's it.
That's true. And if that is the way it is, then I appreciate that a whole lot. Memorable lines for me was when Katie was delivering the arrows to the archery area, and this elderly grandma was telling her something like, "If you aim at nothing, you hit nothing." Because
You'll miss everything.
yeah, you'll miss everything or something in that sense, right? Because um, it's representative of a lot of people who go through life without any goal or anything that they have in mind, which she
She
represented.
was
Because
also. Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, right, Chubax. Because she has a what double degree or something. She's well learned
Berkeley or something.
in
Yeah.
Berkeley, which is absolutely not easy to get into or even achieve that status, and yet she chose the life of driving Valley Why? Because she loves
And it seems improbable, but it's actually
Mm-hmm.
it
it's
with a
possibly
lot
the
of
case.
the
Yeah,
generation right now. There's a lot of people like that.
exactly. So I think that is a good hit for her and for a lot of people who if you think that life is just redundant and on and on and on, it's true. If you don't aim for anything, you'll miss it. You'll miss everything, or you won't hit anything at all. Another line that struck me, and I'm not sure if this is in any relation to, or maybe they're building up on these 10 rings, but I think is it Michelle Yeoh? She was there,
Yeah.
right? Michelle
Mm-hmm.
Yeoh, the aunt.
Don.
She said
That's
something specific, which was the 10 rings are stronger than anything in your universe. So now it makes me wonder and put into perspective: is this, if that's what if what she says is true, is it in any way comparable to the Infinity Stones or in anything? But I guess Infinity Stones transcends different
Okay.
universes. So I guess
That's true.
because what she said specifically was these are more powerful than anything in the universe. So the bearer of the 10 rings, would they be the most powerful being? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Shang-Chi in the comics, so but now I'm quite interested.
it's been very problematic in the comics. Again, that's I appreciate the attempt of Marvel, but you know when comics came out in the 80s and the 70s, times were different then. So characters like both Shang-Chi and Fu Manchu, all the ones that they're trying to clean up a little bit, less whitewashed kind of stuff. So
Mm.
I think the way that that Marvel has been doing origin stories for a while now is simplifying the origin stories, combining some characters are amalgamation of a couple of characters. Like here, um, like the real Mandarin here is a combination of a bunch of few people because uh, uh, in the comics, Shang-Chi wasn't the son of Mandarin,
Hmm.
but was supposed to be like uh, uh, in battle with. So this was kind of a neater way to kind of make sure that the universe
Very,
is still a little
the
bit.
guy who thought of that was very
Yeah.
deserved the whatever paycheck he got.
Yeah.
That was a good idea. Make it clean, keep it in the family,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
represent.
Was
Makes
that the same
sense, right?
actor for the one who played Mandarin as the ones in?
Yeah, so Ben Kingston. So we can talk about a bit
Ben Kingsley.
of Ben Kingsley. So a bit
Kingsley.
of the Easter egg starts. Yeah, but yeah, Chubax, what did you think about the movie? What you did you like and not like about it, and the storylines that you like discuss?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was. I put some like biased glasses on this because I just really
Mhm,
loved it. I enjoyed everything.
mhm.
Um, I even tried to keep my expectations low because I just didn't want to be disappointed. But I loved it. I guess I started my only nitpick was the cool mentor, Shang-Chi's
Oh
mentor,
yeah,
was
yeah,
kind
The
of
yeah.
one with the painting?
underutilized
The one
after
with the
that.
mask. Yeah.
Yeah, after that one fight scene, but it did serve a purpose. So everything else, ended
Mhm,
correctly. But
Mm.
what surprised me the most was it turned out to be an ensemble cast, and everybody was hitting pretty good.
I was gonna say, yep.
I mean, I was expecting Tony Leung to be great, of course, but the sister was good. Katie was good. She
Yeah,
wasn't
Kitty
too
was good.
much,
Mm-hmm.
too much Aquafina like Ryan Reynolds. The friendship, as we talked about, was really good. I also loved how it wasn't both and not like it wasn't like the Mandarin wanting to do something evil or bad or take
Mm-hmm.
over the world. It was very more simple. Like he just wanted his wife back, and it did end up saving the world, but it wasn't because he wanted it to be that. Tony looks really
Oh
great.
my
Like
gosh.
I saw an interview before this where Simu Lu just said, "Watch the eyes." Like he just conveys everything in his eyes, and it's really, true that he does. I love how they didn't underutilize the sister. Like she did like Shang-Chi rode the dragon or the
Mm-hmm.
protector and then the sister because they are brother and sister. Also love the fact that she stayed true to her. Like she got free, so she started an underground fighting ring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like in the end she's gonna be this nice goody
Yep.
superhero two shoes.
Mm-hmm.
She stayed who she is, and she's now
Punch
built
the
up
living
10
lights out
fucking
of him.
rings, and we even upgraded it. Everything, I think everything was really pretty neat. Like the reason why, one you could infer that the reason why the Ten Rings didn't strike out during Iron Man 3 was he was still rebuilding
Mm-hmm.
from from what happened.
Mm.
He was still rebuilding the Ten Rings. So when they did that thing with the bad guy in Iron Man 3 used his name, it wasn't ready yet. So did you watch All Hail the King, RJ?
No, no, I haven't.
I watch it. It's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's like a 10-minute short film about Trevor Slattery in in prison, and
Okay.
it was the first hint of Marvel that said there's really a Mandarin because so the story was like he's in prison, he's living the life because he's like a famous actor and all the prisoners love him and stuff, and he's being interviewed, but the interviewer turned out to be an assassin who captures him, and then he pulls out his son, and there's a ten ring symbol. So it's the first sign that's like, oh, there really is a Mandarin. It's like they just used him. I used his name. So that was pretty cool. What else? The music was spot on. The fight scenes were amazing.
Yeah.
I love that Wong has a fight fixing in his spare time. It really brings to question what kind of character he is.
Yeah, right.
I
Mhm.
mean, I guess it's just like a small hobby. It's not really bad in the
I guess.
scheme of things. But he's friends with Emil. You call him the first name, right? Emil.
Millers.
Uh, it was also funny, like when the small monsters were coming out, and Razorfish was like, "We don't need your help," and then they, which is kind of real because they went for the meanest Ten Rings guy, and
Mm-hmm.
then he wasn't just killed; his soul was ripped out. So that was kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, that would really make anybody,
Yes, we should work
hesitant. So
together.
yeah, we should work
We
together
should
because
work
if he was
together.
killed, I mean, it's normal, but your soul ripped out. What else for me? I loved how they use the rings. Like
Oh,
it can be a gun, it can be a whip.
he
He can use
could
it as a
step
stepping
on them.
stone.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
actually. Oh
that
my
was
Yeah,
god.
that was
that
that
was
was
really.
the
He could use it
unique
as
part I really like.
propulsion
Hmm.
Mhm.
to jump up and then to land also to catch you so that
Hmm.
you don't fall too fast. And particularly in the ending, I don't know if I'm reading too much in it, but it just spoke with what RJ said about the balance, where he did the rings inside the dweller,
Hmm.
and then he was like that, and then to finish it out, he went like that to
Hmm.
kill it. So it's like his mom and then his dad to kill
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
for the final touch, and even yeah, the small things like him having part of his dad, he really did kill that motherfucker. You know,
Yeah.
He did.
he killed him. So that was a good part. That was like also small nice touches. I guess another nitpick for me was the reveal of the suit wasn't an oomph moment. It was like
Oh,
a good shot with the sister, and then when it
Mm,
turned out it was Shang-Chi running to her with the stuff in the red suit, like that could have been given more
more
emphasis. But
emphasis because that's something the
yeah,
mom
it's
gave
fine.
left for them or something.
Even who would have thought that uh, Trevor Slattery would have a fun role
a fun role, a
after.
useful role that
even
doesn't
Morris
really.
was even Morris was cute and amazing.
Yeah, I just couldn't.
So yeah,
There's no face.
I
No,
know.
but that's so all the characters in the
Shh,
movie
don't mention
have.
that. He's quite sensitive.
Yeah, yeah, but all the creatures in the movie, from Trevor
Mythical.
to all the
Hmm,
ones that there's a nine-tailed fox, there
yeah,
is, everything that came out was
that giant cat
legitimately
thing.
a 3D render, or like a live version of mythological Chinese
Yeah.
ancient being. So because like I was thinking first, like, why would somebody design a literally a turkey, like a walking dead turkey, like the one that
Six-legged
you'll eat in, yeah,
turkey with
the one that
four
you'll eat
wings.
during
Four wing.
Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, like that's how it's like culturally, that's how that's
Sure.
okay. Okay, I'm glad that they didn't try to put a face onto it and change what was done, but it was off-putting. Trevor was off-putting for it
But
in the start.
everything was really well done. Even I don't know if it's accidental, but like if you think about it, um, Tony Long, like he gave up 10,000 years of conquest for the wife. So it would
Mm-hmm.
just be natural that if he's hearing her voice, she's gonna drop everything and just go for
Yeah,
that shit.
that's true.
So yeah, I love it. I can't wait for more.
But
Mm-hmm.
what's his
I'm just
story, by
really
the way?
curious what. Yeah, what's I'm really curious with the rings. Right, it was
Hmm.
emitting a signal
So
awakened.
I've
So
been doing a lot of research about this movie because I've had this in the docket for a while. But well, did you want to add anything before I start, Jay?
no, I'm good. Go.
Yeah.
What did you
Um,
think?
so I think right now it is still underappreciated because it does have some normal Marvel origin story flaws, where it's going to be a very clean three acts. It's going to introduce all the characters in the first act. There's going to have the problem in the second act, and they're going to have to fix that problem in the third act with a giant set piece, which I'm half and half between. Like, you just drop the giant Dweller of the Deep or Dweller of the Dark at the end and fight it with a giant dragon, which is so cool. But in the end, it's like, I don't know if we needed that right now. But I think this movie will, the more after a few more years, after a few more Marvel movies, we'll realize how many threads this has started. So starting with, like, the 10 rings itself. So I'm gonna start at the end because it's the title of the movie. But at the post-credit scene of this particular movie is the remaining Avengers
So
analyzing what
mid
it was.
credits.
Yeah, sorry. So mid-credit scene, analyzing what it was. Was it Chitauri tech? Was it Infinity Stone tech? What is mystical with Wong and the others, right? So, um, and it wasn't any of those. A lot of people, including myself, is hypothesizing that this is Eternal's tech. So there's a possibility that um, this might tie into the Eternals once the Eternals finally tie into the actual main Marvel universe. So because the runes, the color of the energy is gold, so it might be one of Phastos's things, or
No
maybe even
spoilers
more
though.
so.
We're still
Yeah,
behind.
yeah. It's like like even more so. It might be like celestial tech too. Like it's gonna be something a little bit older, a little bit more ancient. So that was cool about it. The idea too of Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, fighting Wong in an arena, seemingly like training, is people are also saying that this might be how years after Abomination and the Incredible Hulk, uh, Emil has started to finally to control the monster, and he needs to be able to know how to fight properly. And then people like Wong has been tasked by Thunderbolt Ross and the government to be able to help out, because it's protecting different realities anyway. So this is a way that they could protect this particular reality, but using their talents to help train these people that are technically they can't spar with nobody else. So you get a magician to help you out and then and give you pointers. And then when Emil Blonsky comes back, it looks like a facility. So this might also thread into a series like the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers and whatnot that they're slowly building. So that's a nice touch. And then we have the sister too, um, which I really think when I was watching this movie and then we were reintroduced with the sister, um, when Shang-Chi essentially abandoned his mission of killing somebody because he didn't want to kill anybody. He ran away, and then for 10 years, and for 10 years he was just chilling it with Katie, right? Living a decent life, while the sister who ran away 4 years after, so if we can calculate it, in 6 years she was able to build this underground fight empire that has an abomination in it, a wizard in it. They had
Women are
people
more focused than guys
100%.
anyway.
People that had like the cool Easter egg there too was there was a portion there where they were showing the extremists, like the soldiers in Iron
Yeah,
Man
yeah, yeah.
3, with
I saw
it
that.
was still there.
Mhm.
And him,
And I
Shang
want
Chi.
more.
That
I want more John John too. John
yeah,
Yeah,
John.
John John,
there you go.
Ronnie Chang.
Yeah. So that was so there's so many things here that kind of are seeds for bigger and better things that weren't really slapped in your face, which is exciting that they're making an Asian lead have a lot of this, coupled with the fact that again this has been in any Marvel movie the best fight choreography I've ever seen. All the fights from Tony, like what RJ mentioned, Tony Leung style, Michelle Yeoh style, the mom style, Shang-Chi style, even the sister styles, they're all kind of like slightly varied, but kind of make sense together. So I really enjoyed that. Um, they really spared no expense in making sure that the fight scenes made sense and it's not just flashy. It had a purpose when they're doing their moves. It wasn't just like I'm posing. No, no, this needs to happen because I need to go to this move. So that was I really appreciated that. The and again, stellar fucking cast, like everyone from top to bottom, even like John, even like a fucking throwaway sidekick person, is fucking stellar, right? Even the Easter eggs, like
Yeah.
Wong, like those are like stellar choices. Um, Marvel has a problem with casting amazing fucking antagonists and having those antagonists not be there at the end. So it's like
I I
I
s- I so wish that he didn't die. I wanted
I
more. I
so
wanted more Tony Leung.
Tony Leung, I mean, and again, this is one of those things too that I think it's still extremely underrated. How Tony Leung in one movie is far more complex and far more understandable villain than any Marvel villain. And we've had Thanos,
Hmm.
we've had Killmonger, we've had great villains, and then you have this where you kind of understand like holy shit! Like he changed, and he's again like what you mentioned. He's just trying to get his wife back. If you've been alive for 5,000, 10,000 years, or a
But yeah,
thousand
but
years, let's say,
how did he live that long? I mean, what was his story
whenever
actually?
Because I
he's
I think it's the rings.
whenever he's wearing the rings, it allows him like prolonged life. That's why he aged a little bit when
When
he
he
took
took
it
it out.
off. And so and lost his power. So maybe all of that was like so well paced and extremely well acted. Like this is, I'm glad that Tony Leon is now like a global. Like, he's always been like a global superstar, but now he put himself in a
It's his
Marvel
first
movie. Like,
Hollywood film.
Is it?
and the first film,
Oh man,
Yes.
it's the first
It
he's
took
Hollywood film,
it
but
awesome.
took
also
decades. I
Yeah,
saw
look
an
at that
interview
look.
about it
Look at
where
that stare. You
he
know,
just had to look.
if he stares at
it's
you, you
also
damn.
his first movie that he was playing a dad. Like
Mm,
40 years, a 40-year career, never played a dad. So and you played an amazing one here. So again, um it's an embarrassment of riches that, of course I understand that people will complain about the third act, which I totally understand, extremely rushed, a little too big and a little too fantastic, but you need to sell toys. This is still a comic book movie. You need like a giant monster to fight. um but yeah, it's like this is one of those things that I saw. I saw it twice in the theaters, and I've seen it one more time on Disney Plus
I
because
can't wait
it's
to watch it again.
yeah, it's so cool. The music is great. Apart from
And
my
the way the story's done, it's so rewatchable.
hmm
So
mm,
rewatchable.
definitely.
yeah, comedy with like even the friends about like, hey, I'll Venmo you when
Yeah,
Katie and Sean Katie and Sean was picked up by
by Wong.
Wong via the portal, and he was saying like, "Oh, I'm an Avenger. I think I'm the superhero now. I fought a dragon. Katie shot an arrow. Yada yada yada." It's like they were explaining it to their friends, and their friends like, "What the fuck are you fucking talking about?" And then Wong picked them up and said like, "Oh, I'll venue you for the drink." So those are like those sort of touches that makes
Mm.
it's
And
funny, it's practical, it makes sense. It's super neat.
Razor Fist with the cheesiest cars.
Do the
Giant
Jesus car with your name on
cheesiest
it.
paint.
Um, yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
like
that's
there were
shit.
I loved it. It
I
spoke to
know.
him.
It
I
just
mean,
it was
it
such
was
an
so
amazing
him.
character. To
And
see
I
this
thank
the
God
big
because
ass guy with a
there's a deleted scene I think where he dies.
oh
really no.
Yeah, I think he gives Katie a pep talk where because Katie saw Guangbo die or something,
Mm.
and she's like hiding. It's like the similar scene with Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch in
Wonder
from
Wonder, yeah,
Avengers
and
2.
old Avengers Ultron.
Yeah, so he gives her a pep talk, and but then she says, "I need that arrow. I need that bow." And it's like in the middle of the fight scene, and he goes out and gets it to her, but I think he dies.
Hmm. Good
So
decision because the 10 rings will be back, so I'm
yeah,
excited about that. But I mean, for me, the thing is the movie is so cool that the few nitpicks really stand out, like about the giant fight scene in the end with the dragon and this big monster, and it's all just about like believing in yourself and giving it your all, kind of stuff, usual stuff, beats that we've seen before, but even smaller beats like Katie having no purpose their entire life, but in these 48 hours in this mystical kingdom became like a master archer, was able to shoot the
The demon
dweller
at the
from the
throat.
deep
Yeah,
but to be fair, it's a pretty big target.
it is,
that is
but it's
true.
very
But it
far.
was very
But it's
far.
That is
very
true. That
far
is true.
flying. But again, those were like, but you needed to give Aquafina a hero moment. Um,
But
you know,
why
the
did they need
sister I
her though?
felt,
I mean, why did Wong need her at the end? Like you, come along as well.
well,
Well, dude,
because,
she shot the fucking daughter, man.
That's true.
That
but also
that
they're
I mean,
best friends, so might as well,
that,
right? I mean,
that probably got around too. What she did
Yeah.
in that fight
yeah, she was one of the few people that came
and
in
survived.
that mystical kingdom and came back. So yeah, of course you're gonna
Yeah.
debrief everybody that came back from there, but
Mm, that's what
you
I
know,
thought as well. Could be a debrief.
the, the entire movie when I was watching this, I was looking at it, it's like Shang-Chi. I love Shang-Chi, but you're fucking the not the best dude in this film. I was like admiring the sister. The sister was such a badass at pretty much everything. Taught herself because nobody was ever to
Mm-hmm.
never no, she was not allowed to learn
To train with the
martial arts
boys.
herself, and then created an underground ring, and at the end took over the Ten Rings Empire too. It's like, come on, like that is badass. So I'm glad that this is not the end. I'm hoping that
And I'm glad that they
she
just
has her.
use her as a throwaway for
Yes.
another movie.
Well, the thing is, like it still felt slightly a throwaway not not super throwaway, slightly throwaway. But again, the idea here is like there's too many characters. It's an origin story. You're gonna miss out on something anyway. That dude with the mask, the one
Yeah,
that trained. So like
didn't even give him a
I
name.
didn't even well in the comics he had a name, but here they didn't. But also like the
Yeah,
idea of like you have that awesome character and you couldn't even devote screen time or a few words to it. That's just because there's so many things to get through. A
Mm.
couple of worlds, the mom, the dad, the history, all the enemies, Ten Rings itself. So there's a okay, I understand that, but um the entire time was like the sister's way more
Mm.
awesome than Shang-Chi. Like she should get the rings. I'm happy that the post credit scenes alludes to a continuation of the ten rings with the sister at the head. But I'm hoping that
it.
that's a
I think it actually works better. Like Shang Chi can be do the hero stuff, isolated, and then
Mm.
she just does her own shit. Like
and that's the again coming back to my initial point. Like this drops a lot of very awesome and neat seeds, not confusing Easter eggs or
yeah,
confusing
and it not to the
storylines.
detriment of the movie.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is
Yeah.
so seamless.
It
Yeah,
was
like
smooth.
like
I love
Yeah.
it.
I like it.
I cannot
Thunderbolts
wait.
can be here, but if it's not the Thunderbolts, it still works as an Easter egg, it's an underground fight ring with Abomination and Wong. The Eternals tech or the Eternals thing could be here, but it could be just another magic ring, whatever. But it's neat. And then the sister taking over the Ten Rings. Um, it could be, it might not be a movie, but I would fucking watch the hell out of that Disney Plus series following that. How the sister can start reigniting the Ten Rings Empire,
And for
possibly in a
what
better
purpose?
way. Yeah,
For
for
what
hopefully for
purpose?
a better way. Like underground fights, but not like assassinating people, right? But maybe that's the thing. So I love the fact, and the last nitpick I'll say, and I'll close with this is um I love that they made it a conscious effort that Shang-Chi is wearing Jordans the entire time. But the last pair of Jordans that he wore during the last fight, those low orange ones, like bro, those are hideous Jordans. There's so many other colorways that he could have. A plain black, low cut Jordan would be fine, but I didn't. Like it was distracting.
I like
Like
it.
I did
It
that
I think it was
orange.
released for him also.
Well, hopefully, because that did not look good in films. Like, all right, maybe in real life it looks better, but I like that he's wearing Jordans, and I like that it's like
He's a
um,
valet living in a garage, but he has Jordans, which is real too.
it's just real
People
because
do
like
that.
most people have that, yeah. But yeah, that is our songs review. Final thoughts and rating, Jay.
I would give it a 10, a 9.999 to 10. I really liked it. It's a good. It did not disappoint. If you love the MCU, if you like Marvel movies, and you're probably thinking after the end game that's it. No, ladies and gentlemen, this
We're just
actually
starting.
holds a candle to it. It's at that par. It's at that level. I like the fact that they gave Asians the screen time and the especially in an MCU, it's something that they amazingly expanded to, and I definitely look forward to this the series. It's so fun to watch. You're right, Chewy. I would love to watch it again and again.
And I like that they didn't do the Black Panther thing where there was a white guy
Yeah.
to be introduced to the like that character. I forgot his name.
But if I could
Uh,
hope
Martin
for
Freeman.
if
Yeah,
I
Martin
could
Freeman.
hope for I'd really hope that they would also do a prequel to this, meaning I'd like to know more about Tony
Okay,
Oh,
Leung's
I'm
history,
down with that. I'm
how
down
he
with that.
found the rings in the first place. In the comics, it's really based on alien tech.
Yeah,
And
it's a ship by Fin Fang or Rings of Fin
yeah,
Fang
Fin Fang
Foom. So
Foom, right? And each ring was supposed to have its own power. So one had ice, one had fire, one had lightning, one had
I know
water.
it's literally rings,
Huh?
mm,
finger rings. It was
they're
finger
actual
rings,
rings on the finger.
Oh, was it?
rings on the
Okay.
finger,
Yeah, that's right. The
not
Mandarin
not.
used to have it. Yeah, not bracelets actually.
Bangles. I mean, I like the
Bangles.
bangles. It's much more Chinese, but
Mm,
also differentiates themselves from the Infinity Gauntlet a little bit more because another thing on the hand. So
yeah, that's
I
true.
like it.
But in the comics, the Mandarin had rings. So it was 10 rings, one for each finger. But yeah, each ring had its own power. So I hope they do a prequel, and hopefully they would still employ Tony Leung for that because he's awesome. I really
I know.
appreciated this acting here. How about you,
Chubax,
Shui?
final thoughts and rating.
Oh, I loved
Shang-Chi.
it. 10 as well. It still has, like you said, the origin trappings, but I think for an origin Marvel movie, this would be
Hmm.
one of the better ones, one of the
Yeah.
best ones.
Mm.
And at the same time, the seeds were well placed. That it wasn't jarring. It wasn't like one scene that could have not been there, that it was
Hmm.
there just for that purpose. It had several purposes,
Hmm.
so it was all smooth. Um, it was music, fight scene, story. In fact, I'm gonna watch it again tonight as
Nice.
soon as we're done. So watch it definitely.
Yeah. I'm at I'm at high eights, like an 8.8 here, 8.5, 8.8. A super enjoyable movie again. Visuals, acting, fight choreography. So it has something for everyone. If you want some Asian mythology there, cool. If you want some family drama, great. Asian family drama, which is slightly different, also cool. Um, there is just like lots of punching and kicking, lots of explosions. You have mystical creatures. It has everything that is both visually and orally pleasing. Soundtrack is great. So, um, again, I know it's not a perfect origin story, but like really thinking about it, I think it's way better than Captain Marvel. It's way better than
Yes.
uh, um, uh, Captain America: First Avenger. Maybe again, it's comparable, it's slightly better, and I might be biased like to Black or recency bias. But I think it's a little cleaner Black Panther for me, or they're at the same level in terms of origin stories. Um, but this had a lot more against it because nobody knew about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi did not have like a scene in a prior movie to introduce the character a little bit, so it had more introducing to do. So 8.8, 8.5, 8.8. Again, in 3 to 5 years, more um once we drop more Marvel movies that either will confirm or build upon the Easter eggs that this movie has dropped, I think we'll appreciate this origin story a little bit more. Because right now it's just like, we're in this weird phase post Endgame that everything is just like we don't know what the MCU is yet, and there's no combining factor yet right now. But this is gonna be again, this is a franchise that I hope will be way bigger in the movies than it is in the comics. Because in Shang-Chi, in the comics, he's just like, yeah, he'll train Spider-Man sometimes, teaches him to not to kill himself and whatnot. But the way I think from what I'm seeing, it's like, oh, like, are they going to use Shang-Chi as the Captain America type? Like he might be like the capable moral leader of a new ragtag group of superpowered beings. So that'd be cool. Like both for a representation front, but also on the other end, like we're so used to big names, and now we might get more familiar with some of these even more. But yeah, uh, and that is it, guys.
That is it.
That is our show for the week.
That
Red Notice,
is
How Do They Fall, and Shang-Chui.
My God, even
Shang
Um,
bigger week
Chui.
next week.
yeah,
Shit.
next week we have a bunch more again. Cowboy Bebop, Wheel of Time, Arcane, and
How many is
Hellbound.
Bebop?
6 to 8. Right.
Gotta
So
finish everything.
Okay,
we'll
so we'll
see how
try at
many
least the first three. I mean, let's
yeah
see if that
we'll
works.
see how many episodes of
Mhm.
each we can watch and riff
But
from there.
prioritize
The first three:
more
Cowboy
shows
Bebop.
than like a complete set for one, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can this is our AI ranking, our robot algorithmic ranking.
Mhm.
Um, and see again if you what if you don't like it and decide to skip. That might be a nice discussion too.
True.
All right, extra time. Again, don't forget we are on
10
the YouTube.
episodes.
Um, you can search the plus 63 HP network of shows. Just put in plus 63 HP on the YouTube search bar or launch us from your browser, bit.ly/plus 63 HP. We are on Twitter at plus 3 HP. And subscribe, leave a comment, like, hit that notification bell. We're all on the apps, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This is it for our week. Jay, goodbyes.
Well, it's been fun. I really enjoyed their movies, and next week it's gonna be heavy, but I'm pretty sure it's fun to watch all of them.
Yeah. Chubax, goodbyes.
We got a good mix next week, so I'm excited. Happy we got to do this episode from delays. So see ya next time.
Yeah, I'm advanced a little bit. I've been watching Arcane. I've been loving Arcane, so that might be crossed off my list now. And of course, once I pop in Wheel of Time, I don't care how many things I have to do. I'm watching my ex girlfriend play play an
Oh,
Aes Sedai, Moraine Sedai, of course, and of Cowboy Bebop. We were raving over these are hopefully like it's a lot because it's a lot that we want to watch. But with that, this is going to be it for this week, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.